Stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name's Dave Milner, and for 7 years I have been the unpleasant blind guy. Now, when people like me do these anniversary programs, sometimes we're at a loss to figure out what to do the programs around, how to do them. What, after we've done these shows a few years, can we possibly cover and talk about that we haven't done before? I considered things like doing a remote, that sort of thing, but really, just to kind of give myself some guidance, I went back and listened to the end of my 6th anniversary show, the one that I called Awesome, where I did all Awesome American segments. It didn't take me long, though, to come to the conclusion of what to do this 7th anniversary show about. And it has to do with the line. Now, I'm recording this program on March the 23rd, 2020, and it's going to go out on April the 11th, 2020, to cover my 7th anniversary on April the 13th, 2020. But what do I mean by the line? That's what this show is about. First, take a listen to this recording of headlines from the Today Show on April the 13th, 2019.
First of all, a major storm system brought heavy rain and in some areas large hail from Texas to Mississippi overnight. The severe weather and rain continues this morning across the South with about 19 million people affected. Western and central parts of Texas are under a severe thunderstorm and tornado watch through this evening. As the storm moves east, up to 3 inches of rain are expected from the south to the northeast through Sunday.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said today that he is open to a third summit with President Trump, but he gave an end-of-the-year deadline for the U.S. to offer a nuclear deal that is acceptable to both countries. Kim made those comments just hours after the president and South Korean President Moon Jae-in met at the White House Friday.
Better wireless service and a faster internet could be coming to your area eventually. The Federal Communications Commission says it will hold the largest auction in U.S. history to boost the next generation of wireless service, 5G. The FCC also plans to spend $20 billion to expand broadband access to rural areas. The plans, however, will take years to roll out, and the highest data speeds and internet capacities may not reach rural areas.
Well, what a difference a year makes, right? In late 2019, Chinese doctors began warning their government about the spread of a kind of coronavirus, which was released from a virological lab in the Wuhan province of China. Now, China's response to that was to suppress the information on social media and to imprison doctors who were trying to spread the word, and to suppress their own media to make sure that the word didn't get out. Now, the question has been asked, why would anyone do this? And it is because, guys, China is a communist country. Now, those of us with any experience in geopolitics know that communist countries never like to look bad. As far as their propaganda is concerned, the communist economic system is the best, everyone has the best lifestyle, everyone is the healthiest, everyone is happy, everything is good. So, negative news is not tolerated, and certainly it wasn't tolerated in late 2019 when medical professionals in China wanted to warn people about the outbreak of this virus in the Wuhan province of China. Now, there's been a lot of talk about how it's quote-unquote racist to to call the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus. Stephen Colbert of the comedy channel's Colbert Report claims that it's actually the bat bite virus. This is completely inaccurate. Now, how can I say that? I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a virologist. No, but I did live in Austin, Texas for 9 years. Guess what, guys? Austin has bats, and lots of them. Okay? All you have to do is go on YouTube and you can find pictures of bats, for instance, flying out from underneath the Congress Street Bridge in the summertime. It's a deal down there. People go and watch this. And yes, once in a while, some idiot will find a bat on the ground and they'll pick it up, and sometimes the bat will bite them. And guess what? They don't get any kind of coronavirus. They are, however, in danger of getting rabies. Now, rabies is something you don't want, but it is also not a kind of coronavirus. Bats can spread other diseases, yes, but the particular type of coronavirus which has brought us to the pass that we are at today originated in China with Chinese bats and was experimented with in a Chinese virological laboratory in the Wuhan province of communist China. Therefore, it is no more racist to call the Wuhan virus than it would have been to call the virus the Austin virus had a virological lab in Austin, Texas been experimenting with it, and it had broken out there. So, let's just hope that that points you guys to a way to explain it to the more ignorant out there. Now, I'm calling this show The Line because, given the government response in some localities, in some states, and nationally, the fear runs deep that future historians might be able to point to this time and draw a line and say this marks the end of the first American Republic. Now, you guys might be hearing some music in the background, and you might not. That is because there are migrants outside from the Congo who are not paying attention to the social distancing / self-isolating suggestions that are being passed around these days. This is something that I will get into later on in this program. But why am I saying that this could be the end of the American Republic? Well, guys, there are all sorts of stories about the Wuhan virus, but I'm going to give you just a few and hopefully point you to examples as to why I'm saying this and as to why the people who are enacting these things need to be run out of office the moment it is feasible for that to happen. Okay? Now, we're going to begin with an audio from a story by A.W.R. Hawkins for Brietbart News, posted on March the 14th, 2020. And if you guys want to go looking for this, this is Illinois Mayor issues coronavirus order allowing ban on gun sales. Okay, so check this one out.
Illinois Mayor issues coronavirus order allowing ban on gun sales. By A.W.R. Hawkins on March 14, 2020. Champaign, Illinois, Mayor Deborah Frank Feynman, D., issued an executive order Thursday that gives her the power to halt ammunition and firearm sales in the city. The city of Champaign announced the executive order, saying, Mayor Deborah Frank Feynman issued an executive order declaring the existence of a local emergency in the city of Champaign related to the COVID-19 virus, which is causing or is anticipated to cause widespread impacts on the health of members of the community. Provisions in Chapter 12 of the Champaign Municipal Code provide the mayor authorization to declare an emergency for a limited period of time. This allows the mayor to exercise significant emergency powers at the inception of the emergency, and then to provide an opportunity for the city council, as a whole, to deal with an emergency. On Friday, the city of Champaign posted additional information on the executive order. The order makes certain powers available to the mayor, should she choose to use them. Wuhan 17 reports that banning ammunition and firearm sales is one of the powers made available. And the Washington Examiner reports that the order also gives Feynman the power to prohibit sales of alcohol and curtail sales of gasoline. The City of Champaign's communications manager, Jeff Hamilton, said, "The executive order allows the city to be flexible to properly respond to the emergency needs of our community. None of the options will be implemented but are available in order to protect the welfare and safety of our community if needed." A.W.R. Hawkins is an award-winning Second Amendment columnist for Brietbart News and the writer/curator of Downrange with A.W.R. Hawkins, a weekly newsletter focused on all things Second Amendment, also for Brietbart News. He is the political analyst for Armed American Radio. Follow him on Twitter, @Hawkins. Reach him @Hawkins at Breitbart.com. You can sign up to get Downrange at Breitbart.com/downrange.
Now, never let it be said that New Orleans is outdone by anyone, at least according to its current mayor, as is exemplified in this story by the same author as the previous one, posted on March the 16th, 2020, with the headline, "New Orleans Mayor Issues Coronavirus Order Allowing Ban on Sale, Transportation of Firearms."
New Orleans Mayor issues coronavirus order allowing ban on sale, transportation of firearms. By A.W.R. Hawkins on March 16, 2020. New Orleans Mayor LaToya Cantrell, D., signed a coronavirus emergency order last week allowing her to ban the sale and transportation of firearms. She signed a follow-up proclamation on March 16, 2020, further emphasizing her emergency powers to suspend or limit the sale, dispensing, or transportation of alcoholic beverages. The declaration declaring the mayor's power to restrict gun sales and transportation says she is empowered, if necessary, to suspend or limit the sale of alcoholic beverages, firearms, explosives, and combustibles. On March 16, 2020, the Second Amendment Foundation responded to Cantrell's claims of emergency powers over firearms by reminding her that they sued over Second Amendment infringement following Hurricane Katrina and will do so during the era of coronavirus if needed. SAF Executive Vice President Alan Gottlieb said, "Following Hurricane Katrina, we sued the city when then-Mayor Ray Nagin's administration began confiscating firearms from law-abiding citizens for no good reason. The federal court ordered the city to cease confiscations. We sued New Orleans then, and we'll do it again. The presence of a nasty disease does not suspend any part of the Bill of Rights, no matter what some municipal, state or even federal politician may think. While we certainly recognize the seriousness of this virus and its ability to spread rapidly, treating COVID-19 and taking steps to prevent it from infecting more people has nothing at all to do with the exercise of the right to keep and bear arms under the Second Amendment." Gottlieb added, "People legally licensed to carry should not have their right to do so suddenly curtailed because some politician panicked. We didn't allow it before, and we're not going to allow it now." On March 14, 2020, Brietbart News reported that Champaign, Illinois, Mayor Deborah Frank Feynman, D., issued an emergency coronavirus order that gives her the power to halt ammunition and firearm sales in the city. A.W.R. Hawkins is an award-winning Second Amendment columnist for Brietbart News and the writer/curator of Downrange with A.W.R. Hawkins, a weekly newsletter focused on all things Second Amendment, also for Brietbart News. He is the political analyst for Armed American Radio. Follow him on Twitter, @Hawkins. Reach him @Hawkins at Breitbart.com. You can sign up to get Downrange at Breitbart.com/downrange.
As you can see, guys, leftists are acting as if now cities are their own little private fiefdoms, using the Wuhan virus as an excuse. Remember what Rahm Emanuel said back during the Obama administration? Never let a crisis go to waste. Well, these people aren't. And it's not just Democrats, which, by the way, the mayors of Champaign, Illinois and New Orleans, Louisiana are both Democrats. What a coinkydink, eh? The party that is at the forefront of gun grabbing just happens to have mayors of these cities that sign proclamations that allow them to, if they wish, curtail the sales of firearms and ammunition. Now, it's been suggested that they only used these emergency proclamations as templates from some other state proclamations, and that it really isn't intended to be a potential gun grab. Well, if it isn't, as Dana Lash has pointed out, and I have to agree, why is the language in there? But it isn't always just Democrats who are taking advantage of this. It's politicians from both parties. The rhino wing of the Republican Party is certainly taking advantage of this as well. You just have to look at actions. Now, when I say you have to look more closely at actions, I mean that you have to tie the politicians to their actions. And that includes politicians like Governor Murphy of New Jersey. Now, he isn't the only one who did this, but he was the first one to institute a statewide curfew during this Wuhan virus outbreak. And then he extended it. Give this a listen. This is a story by NBC-4 New York, and it is posted March the 21st of 2020.
We want to be very clear about what is essential. We want you to assume that everything that's not on that list is not essential, and that if you are a business and you make something, or you happen to be a business of any sort, that we didn't ask to be closed down, you got to have 100% work from home policies in place, and we expect people to stay home. And I would just say one more wrinkle on this is earlier last week we said if you're traveling around the state between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. and you're non-essential, we want you off the roads. We're basically saying that's now 24 hours. We don't want you out there, period. Pat, will you just talk a little bit about how we're going to enforce this, and anyone else who wants to weigh in?
I will, and I know yesterday we held, the Attorney General hosted the phone call, which the Governor and I participated in. The Attorney General outlined the guidance. That guidance has been put out, John, it was last week, to the degree that all 21 county prosecutors have designated an assistant prosecutor to be on call. The 2C statute, there's a few different ones, but it's predominantly a disorderly conduct charge. So when the governor says we'll take action, we're at that point. Last week, I know I talked about discretion and that being the greatest tool of law enforcement, but I think we're beyond that now, given the measures that we've placed. And I just think if we hadn't put the measures we did in a couple of weeks ago, where would we be today with the numbers? So that will take action is all police departments, all chiefs were advised of what those charging manuals are and where they could find them, and all of law enforcement, including all 21 county prosecutors, are ready to enforce them and prosecute them.
Now, if you listen to that authoritative tone in that governor's voice, boy, you know he's serious about his little fiefdom. But a practical question has been raised concerning curfews. Now, a quarantine situation like California's, where people are being asked to quote-unquote shelter in place, is understandable in a disease outbreak situation. But what sense does it make when the disease is mostly passed around by younger people to have an 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew when most of the older people that are most vulnerable to that virus are inside anyway. It makes absolutely zero sense. It's basically just a statist acting like a monarch. And guys, let's be clear about something. This is what Democrats and Rhino Republicans have wanted since before the complete formation of our country. They never wanted the American Revolution. They always wanted to be royals. And now, thanks to what they consider to be a fortuitous incident, they get to act like royals, and they have the perfect excuse to do so. If you want another example of this, just check out this story by Dr. Susan Berry for Brietbart News, which was posted on March the 22nd of 2020. The headline on this one, by the way, is Report. Democrats push pork for Planned Parenthood in coronavirus package.
Report. Democrats push pork for Planned Parenthood in coronavirus package. By Dr. Susan Berry on March 22, 2020. The Hill reported Sunday that one of the reasons bipartisan support for a massive coronavirus stimulus package has fallen apart is, once again, because Democrats want the bill to prop up Planned Parenthood. According to The Hill, a Democratic aide said that the small business provision was drafted to exclude nonprofits who receive Medicaid from being eligible for Small Business Administration assistance offered under the bill. That, according to the aide, would impact Planned Parenthood but also community health centers, rape crisis centers and disability service providers. Planned Parenthood is identified as a nonprofit, not a small business. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, DCA, said Sunday she will be moving ahead with her own emergency relief package and ended hopes for an immediate vote in the Senate to further assistance for the nation in the midst of the crisis caused by the virus that originated in China. Brietbart News reported. Senate Republicans and the White House have insisted that they will continue to push for the $1.6 trillion economic relief package, which would include $350 billion in support for small businesses and $250 billion for unemployment insurance. The package would also include direct cash payments to individuals around $1,200 per individual, with additional funds going to families with children. Politico also reported that Pelosi's announcement is an indication she will not be simply taking up the Senate bill and moving it forward on a unanimous consent basis. That also means the House may be forced back into session, even though many lawmakers are concerned about the threat from the coronavirus and the difficulties in reaching Capitol Hill from their home districts. Fox News reported on the impasse. Democrats also pushed for add-ons including food security aid, small business loans and other measures for workers, saying the 3 months of unemployment insurance offered under the draft plan was insufficient. The Wall Street Journal's Kimberly Strassel also weighed in on the stalemate on Twitter. 2 weeks ago, it was discovered Pelosi attempted to ensure a Hyde Amendment loophole was included in an earlier coronavirus economic stimulus proposal. The Hyde Amendment is a long-standing provision applied to spending bills that states taxpayer monies will not be used to fund abortions. Pelosi, Planned Parenthood, and other members of the abortion lobby accused Republicans of holding up that emergency bill to promote their anti-abortion agenda. The Democrat leader herself criticized Republican leaders, stating families have needs, and that a decision was needed to help families right now.
And there you have it. It's feeding time at Congress, and the lefties see a big chance for a huge slush fund of money that they can dip into and use to help destroy our republic. Anyone remember the first TARP? The first Obama stimulus? Guess what, guys? All of the money for that one still hasn't been accounted for, much less paid for. And that's something that I'll get into later as far as How are we going to pay for all of this? But the bigger aspect of this, when it comes to the pro-abort left and the pro-abort rhinos, is extremely important. These are the people out there now who are blaming President Trump for the Wuhan virus. They're saying it's all his fault. They're saying elect them in 2020 and they'll do a better job. Ignoring, of course, the fact that it was a slew of regulations that President Trump inherited from administrations years before that slowed our progress in dealing with this virus. But the pro-aborts don't want you to know about that. All they want to do is make sure that part of the slush fund that nobody knows how they're going to pay for is going to be allocated for the further murder of babies. And that brings me to a point. The people of the United States of America, the decent people of the United States of America, have to establish a line of their own. And that line has to be that if a politician is for murdering babies, they should not be listened to when it comes to talking about saving lives. Because they're already quite comfortable with the quashing of young lives just for the sake of convenience. Like throwing away a used hamburger wrapper. So when some lefty or some rhino Republican starts going on and on about how they care so much for life, especially in this Wuhan virus epidemic, laugh in their face and change the channel. Right now, Dish Network and I'm sure other services have actually added channels that you can watch for no extra charge for a little while. So it's easy to turn these people off, and you should. They don't deserve to be listened to if part of their party platform or part of their philosophy is it's okay to just snap a newborn baby's neck if its mother finds it an inconvenience. But it isn't just the pro-aborts that are out there with their hand out. One of the things that has often been said about our great society welfare giveaway system is that people are never satisfied. Now, what do I mean by that? Check this out from NBC-LX, which was posted on March the 21st, 2020. If you want to find it on YouTube, it's called, Will Every American Get a Stimulus Check from the Government?
Coronavirus has caused a lot of uncertainty in the world, but one thing is for sure, it's having a big impact on the economy. White House officials are saying the unemployment rate could jump to 20%, according to NBC sources. To help people who may struggle during this unprecedented time, the government is thinking about just sending money to everyone. It may sound too good to be true, and not everything you may have heard about this plan is. So let's look at 2 truths and a lie about stimulus checks. First, the government has sent everyone checks before. That's true.
I'm pleased to be joined by leaders of both parties to enact an economic growth package.
It's actually happened 2 times already. Back in 2001, each household got between $300 and $600. And it happened again in 2008 when most people got an extra $600.
See, guys, this is the problem with listening to the left-stream media. What you just heard was patently false. And remember what the headline says. Will every American get a stimulus? Okay? And this woman just got finished saying that everybody got a check from the United States government twice. Actually, that didn't happen. I know that I certainly did not get stimulus checks on either of the occasions that she speaks of. Now, I'm on assistance, so I shouldn't have gotten anything anyway, nor should I get anything now. But these media outlets should not be lying to people in order to encourage some kind of hope, or worse, some kind of demand for quote-unquote free money. But let's listen to the rest of this.
You may have heard that everyone will be getting the same amount this time. Well, that's a lie. The White House plan that NBC News obtained would give everyone different amounts based on income and family size. Some politicians have proposed ideas where that would happen. Mitt Romney is suggesting everyone gets $1,000. Some economists say giving everyone the same amount would be best. And finally, you're eligible for extra money if you have a child. That's true. The Senate Majority Plan calls for an extra $500 per child. That's if you're married or single. And by the way, nothing is set in stone. The White House plan would still need to be approved by Congress, so don't count on the money just yet. If you have any other questions about the government's plan to send you cash or how the coronavirus is impacting the economy, just tweet us at NBC-LX.
And that is it for this time. Next time, Part 2. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye. The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2020. Anno Domini.